there's only two ways for you to have money. Is either you go to work and you gradually build up a big enough pool of money that you have enough money that you can stop working and then you can have your money work for you. There's basically 4 real key things to winning the financial marathon. The first thing is you need to save regularly. Save regularly. Things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. Saving regularly, it's so easy to put it off. The next thing is you need to carry little debt. And there's all kinds of people. The more motors you own, the less money you have. The nicer the car you drive, the less money you have. The other thing that we do when we do financial planning is we have to teach our clients to be patient. And it's very, very hard for people to be patient. When things are going good, you think they're going to go good forever. And when things are going poorly, you think they're going to go poorly forever. But if you just stand the test of time, the good and the bad's going to even itself out. And the next thing is basically prepare for death or disability. And death is a certainty. Financial company went out and they did a survey. They asked 1,000 people a simple yes or no question. They said, do you think you have above average intelligence, yes or no? And 87% of the people thought they had above average intelligence. Let's just take a really quick survey in the room. Raise your hand if you think you're in the 50% of the people in this room with below average intelligence. We got one hand, and I know you. Okay? I actually did this in a seminar once, and this lady at the back of the room, she stood up, and I said to her, I said, do you think that you have below average intelligence? She said, no, not at all. And I said, well, why are you standing? And she said, because I didn't want you to be the only one standing. I had a high net worth individual move in here, and he called me up. He researched me on the internet. He called me up. He brought all his financials in. He says, I'm seeing you, and I'm seeing 3 other advisors, and I'm going to make a decision on what I'm going to do. And I thought we had a really, really good meeting. And as he was leaving, we got to the door, and we shook hands. He goes, oh, one more question. What's 7 times 3? And right away, I said 20. And we shook hands, and he left, and my assistant looked at me, and she goes, Mike, 7 times 3 is 21. And I went, oh, well, let's just see what happens. The rest of the meeting was successful. A few weeks later, I get a call. The guy goes, congratulations, you got the job. And he said, you asked me that question 7 times 3. I told you the answer was 20. The real answer is 21. And he goes, I know, but you were the closest. Okay, what I like to do, and the theme of this meeting is connecting for change. I'd like to tell you how I try to connect with my clients in order to make them change, in order to make them take action on things that they don't want to take action on. And the way that I do it is things are really complicated. I want you to think about the very first time you went to buy your very first computer and you were figuring out the gigabytes and the hard drive and all that stuff, and it was very foreign. And people come in my office and you got so many choices that it's really hard to make a decision. And what we like to do is we like to make the unknown known, by using the familiar and being a good storyteller. When somebody comes to see me, or anybody here that's really in sales, and it doesn't really matter, everybody's in sales. You're in sales with your spouse, you're in sales if you're a doctor trying to get somebody to take medicine, whatever it happens to be. So if somebody comes to see me and they say no, when I ask them to take action, are they saying no? Or are they really saying, I don't know? Or are they saying, not now? Here's a couple ways I explain money to smart people. And I think everybody here is a smart person, but you're a smart electrician, you're a smart nurse, you're a smart professor. You're very smart in your capacity, and I feel I'm smart in my capacity, but when my car breaks down, trust me, I'm completely useless. So what I try to do to make the unknown known by using the familiar is just give a few analogies. And I just want you, this is the participation part. Let's pretend I'm a human resource manager and you're 35 years old and you show up at my office and I offer you a job. But instead of offering you just one job, I offer you two jobs. The first job I offer you is job A, and job A pays $100,000 a year. In the event of death, it pays nothing. In the event of disability, it pays nothing. And at retirement, it pays nothing. So that's job A. Now I'm going to offer you job B. Job B, instead of paying you $100,000 a year, is going to pay you $92,000 a year. In the event of death, you're going to get $500,000 payable to your beneficiary. You're 35 years old. If you get disabled, we'll give you $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year, potentially for 30 years, which is $1.8 million. And then at retirement, we're going to give you a lump sum of $500,000. So all at once, if I gave you the offer of taking job A or job B, which job would you pick? Shout it out. B. Job B. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, if I come to you with my idea and say you should buy something, you're on the resisting side. But if I can make it your idea, my chance of success and your chance of success, because I'm going to give you something compelling that's going to move you to action, increases significantly. All I did in this scenario on a 35-year-old is I took $8,000 of that $100,000 and I went and I bought a life insurance policy, a long-term disability policy, and put money in a retirement plan, and it's going to ultimately give you those numbers. And so doing something like that, if I instead came to you and put together a package and says it costs $8,000 a year, I'm going to have far, far less success than I am by you making your decision because you told me up front that you want job B. Paychecks till retirement. Everybody thinks they've got forever. And why save today when you can save tomorrow, you can save next year, you're buying a car, you're buying a house, you're going on vacation, you're doing all these things. I need to try to take the amount of time you have from today to the day that you retire and make it as small as possible so that I can give you enough information to compel you to be moved to action when you realize that you're going to have a problem if you don't take action. So let's take a 35-year-old. They get paid 2 paychecks a month, 24 paychecks a year. They work till 65. They're going to have 720 paychecks. How much do you want to take off each of your next 720 paychecks in order to generate a pool of money that you can live on for the rest of your life? If you're 35 years, pardon me, that was 35. At 45, you've got 480 paychecks left. At 55, you only have 240 paychecks left. Time plus amount saved plus return equals your result. Time plus amount saved plus your return equals your result. And lack of one is going to require compensation by the other two. So if you lack time, you can compensate for that by saving more or getting a better rate of return. If you lack money, you can compensate for that with more time and more return. And if you lack return, you're going to need to save more money and you're going to need more time. Goes along the line said by Confucius, which is tell me and I'll forget, show me and I'll remember, get me involved and I'll understand. Tell me and I'll forget, show me and I'll remember, get me involved and I'll understand. And just be a good storyteller and package things up in a compelling manner that people understand, that's going to be enough to actually move them to action. So one of the things that I do is I use a tape measure. And if I go and I look, the average life expectancy for a 65-year-old is about 86 years old. But if I have a 65-year-old couple come to see me, I have a 50% chance that one of those people are still going to be alive at age 90, and a 25% chance one of them will be alive at age 95. So if I go and you came to see me, and let's just say you're 40 years old, and I pull out a tape measure, and I use the average age of 90, and I turn around and I go to you, and I say, this is your entire life from birth till death. And then I go, and you're 40 years old, and you come to see me, and I go and I take the tape measure, and I cut it off at age 40, This is your life that you've lived so far. Where you're at right now doesn't really matter. We can't turn the past back. So here's your current situation. And then you come and I say to you, when would you like to retire? And you've saved hardly any money, you're 40 years old, and you go, oh, 55. And I turn around, I plug all the numbers in my financial planning software, and they look at me all excited and they go, well, what's it look like? And I go, well, you're gonna be poor and unhappy until you retire. And then they go, well, what's it gonna look like after that? I go, oh, after that, you'll just get used to it. So this is the life they've lived so far. They want to retire at age 55, let's just say. So now I go and I pull up age 55. So we've saved or accumulated whatever we've accumulated up to this point in time, and now we're all of a sudden going to get really, really good at saving for this short period of time in order to have a big enough pool of money to live on for the rest of your life here from age 65 to age 90. And it's not going to work. So what can we do? The easiest thing for me to do when I do a financial plan for somebody is to get them to work a few years longer, at least take a hybrid retirement. So let's think about this. If you work a little longer and you save a little bit more and you retire a little bit later because you're going to work longer, instead of 15 years, maybe 20 years, this becomes 5 years longer, but at the same point in time, this becomes 5 years less. And it's just much more attainable when we have time, amount saved, and rate of return. There's another way to fix this. That's all you got to do is just die really, really young, right here. Okay? That'll work really, really good. So, saving money is really $1 million. So here I have, if you have 40 years, 30 years, or 20 years. So you come to me, this is 9% rate of return. You come to me, you want to have $1 million in 40 years because you're, say, 25 years old and you want $1 million when you're 65. I go, if you start saving today, the amount of money you need to save is so small, it's kind of like having a marble like this that you're carrying around in your pocket. If you have something like this and you carry it around in your pocket for the next 40 years, you're hardly even going to notice that it's there. But and the amount you need to save is less than $3,000 a year. If you save, wait until 35 to start, you only have 30 years, now it's kind of like carrying around a baseball. You can do it, but it's a little bit uncomfortable, and you're walking around uncomfortable for the next 30 years. And if you want to wait till you only have 20 years, it's like a basketball, and you can't do it. And so the number one thing that you can do is have as much time as possible. And again, starting early when it's $3,000 a year, that's easy to do. But you know what? Things that are easy to do are easy not to do. I'm wearing a custom fit suit right now, and my weight fluctuates by about 20 pounds in a year. And I guess I was a little on the lighter side when I got this fit. You know what? It's bad enough when your clothes don't fit, but it's really bad when your custom fit clothes don't fit. So I asked a friend of mine who's a personal trainer, what can I do to take an inch off my waist? And he said, Mike, in addition to everything you're doing right now, do 20 sit-ups a day. 20 sit-ups a day. You know what I found out? I found out it's actually easier to walk around with your pants too tight all day than it is to do 20 sit-ups. Okay? Because if I put my pants on right now and they're too tight, and I do 20 sit-ups, my pants are still going to be too tight. And I'm not thinking about these 20 sit-ups helping me a month from now when I've lost the inch on my waist. Reasons to diversify. This is of all my concept pages that have been shared thousands and thousands of times, this is by far the best one. And nothing is ever a sure bet. And if you put all your eggs in one basket, you have to watch the basket. But if you diversify, it's going to help you in times of adversity. Next slide here. I call this just on the back of a napkin. You could walk in my office, I could sit down, or Or we could go out for lunch. Let's say you're 35 years old, and I sit down, and you make $100,000 a year. I could turn around and I say, money's required for 3 major reasons in life. Pardon me, 4: death, disability, critical illness, and retirement. And money is only available from 3 sources: from your employer, from the government, and your own stuff. So you're making $100,000 a year. Just to generalize, we recommend you have 10 times your annual earnings as insurance. So how much insurance do you have? You should have $1 million. Oh, I got 25% from my employer. I got nothing from the government. And I got 25% that I own individually. I think the beneficiary is my ex-wife, but I'm not really sure. So I go find you got 50% of the amount of insurance that you need. This isn't a full fact find. It's something to compel you to be moved to action. Next, for disability, I got 50% of my income from my employer, nothing from the government, nothing on my own. For critical illness, we don't have anything there at all. And for retirement, I've got my pension plan's going to give me 25%. For simplicity, the government's going to give us nothing, and I'm saving 25% on my own. And so now I turn around and I show you this. This is not a full fact find. This is not for you to take a piece of paper, fold it up, put it in your pocket, go home and talk to your spouse and say, we really need to get serious. Another thing, 6 quick questions. Just going to ask you 6 questions. That's all I need to do. How old are you right now? Oh, I'm 35 years old. How many years have you worked? 10 years. How much have you saved? Hardly anything. What's your net worth? What's the value of your estate if you died today? And then I'm going to turn it on you and make it your idea, and I'm going to say, are you happy with the answer? Yes or no? Thank you very much.